This episode is brought to you by Bananagrams, the game nobody fucking plays.
And we bought it.
Hit that music!
Movies, music, story times, all kinds of shit for you. Everything goes on the Saturday night from
Anyway, this fucking episode actually is about Bananagrams.
Is it?
No, it's not.
Okay.
And not even they would sponsor us, so I guess not a sponsor. Not that we have to clear that up or
No,
anything.
definitely don't.
Anyway, we talked a couple of videos ago, a video ago, I don't know what the fuck. Some fucking time. Clearly the same day as the same props are still around us.
And they still stink.
We were talking about the time I ran you over. But there was a time I ran myself over.
Yep.
Here's that little story. Want to hear it? Here it goes. So it was actually kind of a scary moment because my grandmother, who was alive at the time, had encountered some physical problems, shall we say, and I had to call the ambulance. Thing is, I had just gotten home and I had to move the car out of the way of the door, my car out of the way of the door, so that the ambulance could get through into the door and get her out, right? So anyway, I go outside to move the vehicle, and in all my fucking wisdom, I don't even understand why I fucking did this. I could have just hopped in the car, turned it on, moved a little bit forward. But I decide it's much easier to reach in,
Yeah.
put the key in, and instead of putting it in neutral so that I could push it forward.
Like a sensible person would, or
Yeah.
not even.
No,
the sensible person would get in the car.
Yeah. Instead of putting it in neutral, I put it in drive. And
Ryan Gosling came on and told you were an idiot.
Yeah, he did, because not only did I put it in drive, but I'm like, hey, why isn't this car moving?
Ooh.
So I reach down with my hand and I press, the fucking gas, the weeest bit, to get it to move.
Ooh.
Never in my mind. I guess I was kind of like, oh shit, grandma's sick. I gotta get this. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
Yeah.
It didn't even cross my mind. Hey, it's not moving because it's not on neutral. You fool. No. Instead, I reached down and pressed the little gas. Here's the thing about gas. You press it a little, it goes a long way. Mm-hmm. Especially when you can't gauge it. You're used to gauging it with your foot. With my hand, I'm not. So this car moves a lot faster than I thought.
He goes 0 to 80 pretty quick. You're going back in time, basically.
It's not that fast, thankfully, but fuck, it was fucking fast. I was like, oh shit. So now I'm trying to stop the car, and I'm not in the car. I'm by it, like you would if you were pushing it on neutral. And so I'm holding on to the steering wheel, and I realize that if I jerk the steering wheel, it's going to go off onto the street or into the property. So that's not good. And my only option is to hop in and press the brake before I go into the neighbor's property in front of us. And I'm like, fuck. So my fat ass tries to jump in. It's not gonna happen. It's not. I'm not fucking Steve McQueen over here. I'm not jumping into this fucking car. So when I try to jump in, I actually just fucking end up getting thrown by the car. I fall flat on my fucking back. My arm goes to the side, and the back wheel of the car rolls over my fucking hand or my arm.
Yep.
Then
why you have a robot arm now?
Yeah. Then the fucking car coasts forward and hits, thankfully, a junked car that the neighbors had, and just stops because so fucking physics.
Laws of physics.
Yeah. But anyway,
I don't know what you were fishing for.
So I'm like, fucking shit. I get up, not even thinking about my arm. I get up, I get in the car, back it up, put it back into place, out of the way of the door too.
And then you get out.
Yeah, pretend nothing has happened because nobody saw, nobody heard, thankfully. And I get back in the house, and I'm like, I already moved the car, thinking I'm sly and shit. And Grandma's like, oh, what's wrong with your fucking arm? And I look at my arm, and it's literally in shreds. Now, surprisingly, I didn't break a bone.
Yeah. It did rip your skin.
It ripped
into 10 trillion tendrils, though.
If you've ever seen burn victims when they get the skin replacement, they stretch the skin, and so the pores become it looks like a fishnet almost, gross flesh fishnet. That's what a part of my arm looked like because the skin had been stretched so far and pulled off, and I was like, what the fuck? And it didn't even hurt or nothing. I was just like, what the? And the ambulance people get there, you know, the EMTs get there not even like 2 minutes later, and they think I'm the guy that needs the ambulance. I'm like, no, it's her. And I'm like, what the fuck? So anyway, I ran over my own fucking arm.
Yep. Once again, didn't go to hospital because that's
Yeah, I did. Mexicans like us don't go to hospitals.
Nope.
Unless we absolutely positively have to. Which, by the way, I did have to go recently because I'm literally bleeding to death out of my fucking herniated abdomen. And guess what they said? You're okay.
Yep.
So that's a fucking thing that happened.
That's good.
Anyway.
Time I got run over is not as exciting. It was literally, I was in the car. Grandma told me to go to the back to pick up some garbage. Because it was always full of garbage. And Grandma's car was a beat up jalopy. Freaking Archie's car's burned. Archie's car's like a freaking Porsche compared to this turd. Anyway, I go back there, and for some ass reason, she hits that reverse and freaking does the rock and shit, goes fast and furious, and I fall and knocks me down, and I fall like with my legs splayed open. This was the closest I'll ever get to doing a split. I almost split my nuts too, but I'm down there doing the freaking splits Jean-Claude Van Damme style, and the freaking car's coming at me 90 miles an hour and shit. And let's just say it came this close to running over my junk, which, by the way, wouldn't matter because it's not like I'm ever going to use it.
Probably would have been the service.
Yep. I kind of freaking depressed myself there. Anyway. Thankfully, it did not run over my jewels because there's not much of them to run over. So that's my tale. But I do have another jalopy tale that is Grandma's jalopy. And you were there for this one, so I'm sure you can tell a better tale than I can because mine literally consisted of me getting my nuts run over and it was like freaking a second long. Anyway, we were on the car and we were going to, I don't know where we were going. We were going to town. And we happened to cross some railroad crossing, and Grandma's the slowest driver in the history of Earth, unless she's got your nuts on the target. Unless she's targeting your nuts, in which case she'll go 10 trillion miles an hour.
That's not true. There's another time when she would go super fast. Now, mind you, this woman is dead now, so she's not going fast at all anymore.
Nope.
Unless you believe Bram Stoker, who said the dead travel fast. Like that? Nothing? Some air?
Yep.
Airtime? Anyway, she's fucking croaked, is what I'm saying here. And, but when she was alive, see, I'm bringing it back, see? When she was alive, she was fast, one, when she was trying to run over your nuts, apparently.
Yeah.
And two, when she was near a railroad crossing.
Yeah.
If she was
where
near...
this tale's going.
Yeah, if she was near a railroad crossing, fucking shit, there was like fucking bullet and shit.
She'd hit that freaking nitro, dude.
Fucking airtime.
Sponsored by Momo.
Anyway, she hit the Momo and then
she hit the freaking nitro, and we're. I swear to God, we got like freaking 3 hours of airtime. I was in the back.
Fucking Thelma and Louise and shit.
It was raining, and all I remember is freaking mud hitting the windshields, and I'm in the back like floating. You know that scene in Deadpool where everybody's just floating? It was like that shit. Freaking 80s tunes playing in the background and shit. It was actually just Mexican music. We're freaking up there, dude. We're like in space. It's almost like gravity, dude. We're like hits the ground, and then you expect a reaction like "oh shit" or like fear. Nope, she starts cackling like an old witch, and we're like, "What the flip?" Ground's like, and we're both like, "The hell just happened?" We had like 8 hours of airtime. That's not a thing that happens, but it happened, and it was kind of terrifying and also really cool.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I don't know what it was about her and railroads. A deadly attraction.
Apparently.
I didn't have a driver's license for the longest time.
Nope. You literally got it last year, didn't you?
Yeah, I literally got it last year. Before that, I drove illegally, and I had like 1,000 tickets.
Yeah, you did.
And I don't understand the logic behind this. I paid so many driving without a license tickets when I could have just paid like a one-time fee for a license.
Yep.
But it really was a combination of the lack of desire to fucking learn proper street etiquette,
Despite
I guess.
the fact that you pretty much already knew it.
Yeah, I mean, I drove around. I just didn't want to be bothered with it for some fucking reason. And then the other half of it was, damn, I have to go to fucking DMV. That sucks.
So you could have led with that, and it would have been understandable.
The thing is, that wasn't my primary concern. The other thing was my primary concern.
All right.
Anyway,
Priorities are clearly in check.
oh yeah, but yeah, for the longest time I didn't have one. Anyway, I used to work. I was really in warehousing, but it was at a store, you know. So we would deliver stuff to people on occasion. There used to be a service we had. We would deliver items to the people that went there, the clientele, and they had a company truck for this, right? And they had a designated driver, and they had to be on the company insurance and all that and all that shit. So one day that guy doesn't go to work, and in all his wisdom, my boss says, "Hey Ahab, you can drive." And I'm like, well, yeah, technically.
It should be.
He goes, I need you to take this stuff to these people's house with the people in the cab with you. And I'm like,
That's a good idea.
I said, I don't have a license, man. And of course I knew that the whole insurance thing, you had to be on the insurance company. And he's like, you don't? And I'm like, no. And he's like, but you drive, right? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you'll be all right, just don't crash. Oh, that's some solid leadership, pal.
That's a good one.
So I'm like, all right. And you know, I could have been a man's man and gone, no, man, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take that responsibility into my fucking hands. But I was more of the, I don't want to admit I'm a weasel man. And I was like, oh, yeah, I totally got this. Driving this big-ass vehicle that I've never driven before, which is vastly different from a fucking car.
Yep.
Anyway, so I load the little fucking company vehicle up and get the people in there with a cab with me. And I have a hard time backing up now, you know. Back then, in a vehicle that was unfamiliar to me, I had a really fucking hard time. The bigger the vehicle is, the harder time I have backing up. Like, I wouldn't be a good 18-wheeler driver. That's what they call them, right?
Yeah.
18-wheeler driver here. Anyway.
Apparently that's their freaking name.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a fucking good trucker is what I'm saying. But, yeah, man, I back out in the worst possible way in this fucking vehicle. And I tell them, hey, as I go into the road, I said, hey, I don't have a license. So I'm going to take back roads to avoid the cops. And the look of terror on their face spoke ill of everything in life. So I took some back roads, and I finally got to, it was a very long way, roundabout way to get to their fucking place. And I get there, and I have to back up into the tiniest slot in the existence of man to back up, to where they can unload the vehicle. And I'm like, oh no. In this thing, shit. So I start to back up, and I actually end up in between two parking spaces.
All right. And
they're like, you're kind of in somebody else's parking space. And I'm like, are they here? And they're like, no. Well, you better get your shit off. So they do, and I leave, and I don't get a tip because their lives were at risk.
Yep.
But yeah, man, this led to another circumstance where I was again told to, this time I had to deliver the stuff by myself to this old hag that lived on the other side of town. And I'm like, all right, I'll deliver to a hag. And I'm by myself, so, whatever. No risk other than to my own health. Now, I did avoid main streets to avoid cops. But in all my wisdom, I took a non-street by driving over this barren piece of land. That was a shortcut, mind you, but it was an unkempt piece of land. So I'm driving in what's got to be the hilliest fucking terrain of all time. And there's no seatbelt in this motherfucker. And I hit a hill that's particularly steep. And when I do, I bounce off the seat and I hit my head on top of the cab. And I literally knocked out for long enough for me to wake up, and I'm on the street driving towards a vehicle, and they're like, ah, and they drive off the road, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I finally get to the right side of the street, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened here? And I brake, and I look back, and I traveled a good distance of over 100 feet, totally unconscious in a fucking vehicle, ragdolling like a son of a bitch.
So that's a sale.
Anyway, here's another one. Again, still had no license, and I was driving to work, and I was gonna turn left on the green light, with the unprotected green. So oncoming traffic, you have to look out for it before you turn, and if it's safe, you can turn. And I was insecure about the distance of this particular vehicle. It looked like it was far, but I waited too long to calculate if it was too far. So by the time I did make the turn, it was already too close.
All right.
So I literally just made the turn, and it was and also I gotta say this motherfucker saw me turn, so he could have braked. But anyway, it was my fault. But you also could have braked, you son of a bitch. Anyway, I turn, and he still was going, so he clips me. Boom! He clips me so hard that I go into the opposing traffic lane. And I'm like swerving.
I like how this is how you always, you're doing that for comedic effect, but that's actually how you drive.
Yeah, that is how I drive.
I've never said anything, but your turns are terrifying.
They are fucking terrifying, especially considering I'm in a suburban vehicle.
Which literally has a warning that says, this baby will tip over if you run over an acorn.
It's one of those that back in the early to mid 2000s, there was high rollover rates for. Yeah. I have one of those. So that's good. Yeah. But anyway, I'm swerving out of fucking traffic trying to fucking avoid getting killed, and I finally managed to fucking get the vehicle back in the right lane, right? And I'm like, holy shit, I'm so spooked that I drive off the road, and I'm right next to the railroad tracks, by the way. I drive off there, and I stop, take a breather real quick, get off, and I go inspect the damage. And what happened was they clipped my back bumper off on one side, so it's hanging by a fucking like thread basically. So what do? I kick that bitch off, and I rip the fucking bumper off, open my back seat, thrust that son of a bitch in, close the seat, and I'm like, I'm fucking jetting, I'm disappearing. The moment I'm about to disappear, the fucker dude that clipped me drives up right next to me, and he goes, "Where you going, man?" And I'm like, ah, fuck. I go, well, I was gonna go, but I guess not. And anyway, he's fucking mad and shit, and he's like, fuck that shit. And he tells his son, who was driving, who was like in his mid-20s or some shit like that, to call the cops. So the son calls the cops, right? And I'm like, he's like, you better not go, this and that. I'm like, I'm not gonna go, man. Fuck it, I'm not gonna be that level of asshole. You've caught me. I don't give a shit. Let's just ride this out. So we're waiting there for the cops. And he's calmed down a little, and he realizes that he too had enough time to brake, even though it was my fault. And I'm like, yeah, it was my fault, man, And then the way I calmed him down was I told him, I'm sure if I would have been in your shoes and you had the chance to get away, you would have probably taken it too. And he's like, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just, it is what it is. Then he goes, I shouldn't have called the cops. And I go, oh yeah? And I'm thinking like, oh, cool. Maybe he's going to let me go or some shit, Call it bullshit or just leave, right? And he goes, I'm the one that should be driving because my son doesn't have a license.
All right.
But I lost my license because I'm incapacitated. And I'm like, I don't have a license. So we're all fucked now.
Yep. You, me,
that fucking poor sap over there that shouldn't even be driving.
Me somehow.
You. So yeah, the cops get there.
I wasn't even there, by the way. I was just at home like, oh man, my life sucks.
The cops fucking get there, and they're like, you fucking guy. They literally were like, you dudes are losers. You fucking can't drive, apparently, that he said to me. And you assholes, you don't even have fucking license, and you're bitching about this. So he gave tickets to all three of us. I told the guy, look, let's not get the insurance involved. I'll pay you whatever I owe you. I did. I ended up paying him like $400 to fix his damage, and I didn't even fix my damage. I just sold the fucking car and eventually got another one.
All right.
But I've never bought a new car. I just buy used pieces of shit
that roll over.
But
so if we disappear off the channel,
I've driven off a cliff.
It's literally because you killed us with one of your insane turns. Or we hit an acorn and it just flipped over.
Remember that fucking time I fucking argued with that cop?
No.
we were coming back from Walmart on a late night dumbass excursion.
That was the thing we used to do.
Yeah, we used to go get movies and never watch them.
There used to be a time, side note, where you would go to Walmart and buy Salisbury steaks and watch Dawson's Creek. And it was like your thing. Like if I even like was anywhere near you when you were doing your thing, you would like kill me.
Yeah. Dawson's Creek plus Salisbury steaks. That's me, baby.
So that explains why we're both losers and fat. Anyway,
but yeah, we used to go on midnight excursions to Walmart just to find something.
Salisbury
steaks or whatever. And I remember this time we bought Halloween 8.
Oh man, that's gonna be an upcoming freaking cinematic toilet. We're gonna revive the series just for that.
Which is fucking shit, by the way. And we're coming back, and Walmart is like a good 30 minutes from where we live.
Yeah.
And we were coming back. That's in the city. And the moment I leave Walmart's parking lot, there's a cop behind me. And this fucker follows me 30 fucking minutes all the way to the boondocks where we live. And I'm about to turn onto the street that takes me to where we reside. And this fucker flashes his lights on me. And I knew at that moment that this fucker had been just waiting for one mistake. And that one mistake was that I veered a little over the line for 1 second. As sometimes you do, Anyway, he stops me. He's like, license, registration. I'm like, I don't have any. Here's the registration, but I'm not on the insurance. And I don't have a fucking license. And he's like, why didn't you have a license? I'm like, I just never gotten one. So he goes and he runs the my non-number. And he comes up and he asks me who the person on the registration is, because my mom's name sounds vastly different. I'll put it this way: my mom's name is super Hispanic.
Yeah.
My name is not distinguishably Hispanic. I'll say it that way. It's
the way you say it isn't.
Yeah. It doesn't sound Hispanic. My surname doesn't sound Hispanic when it's said the way most people say it.
Let's just say it. It's Ahab Krautsberger.
Yeah, it's Ahab Krautsberger. Hers is like
Guadalupe
fucking Terrazas or some shit, we don't sound like we're related.
We just added to our lore, by the way.
Yeah. And he's like, who's this person? Who's Guadalupe Terrazas? And I'm like, oh, that's my mother. And he's like, really?
Ahab Krautsberger.
Your mom is Guadalupe Terrazas? And I'm like, yeah. You all right with that or what? And he's like, get out the car. And you're like, what the fuck's going on? So I get out the car. And I'm like, what the fuck's the problem, man? I'm just give me my ticket, or if you're going to take me, just take me. And he goes, oh, you don't have to get belligerent. And I'm like, I'm not. I'm just telling you, you're the one not believing that's who my fucking mother is. I mean, that's who it is. What can I tell you? And he goes, where were you going? I'm like, I'm headed home. We're almost here. We're right here, a stone's throw away. And he goes, you know why I stopped you? And I go, yeah, I know why you stopped me. I know you followed me all the fucking way 50 billion leagues from over there to here, waiting for that one moment that I did something wrong just to fucking stop me, right? And he's like, well, what's your problem? You got a problem with authority, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, man, it's just fucking stupid. I go, I realize I made a mistake. Here, I don't have a license, this and that. Give me my fucking ticket. Arrest me, whatever you're going to do, just get it over with. I don't want to hear your speech, because that's fucking retarded on your behalf. Also, at this precise moment, a fucking vehicle goes screaming past us. And I go, what about that fucking guy? He's literally breaking the law per the second, and I get stopped? He gives me my license back. Gives me my registration back. My non-license back. Or it was my ID. He gives me my ID back and the registration, and he goes, get out of here. I don't want to see you on the street. And I was like, what?
Then you swung your machete and he actually
then he arrested me.
Me apparently, not you.
I always have the machete at hand. This is how I swing it so it never works.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's been us talking some bullshit. Hit like, share, subscribe, and those notification buttons because we're fucking out.